The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Who needs Elias Pettersson when the Canucks got the best player in this series, right? JT Miller is better than Connor McDavid. You heard it here on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we get into this episode talking about one of the biggest wins in recent Canucks history, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because guess what? It is your Canucks every damn day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe, like, follow, leave a review out of the good of your goddamn heart wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Before we get into things, also got to shout out our friends over at Game Time. Download that Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Apply. You know who was locked in last night? It was JT Miller getting it done with, again, I'm going to say it, one of the biggest goals in Canucks history. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest goals in Canucks history. Ending off a game in which Miller said it, the team deserved to win. They should have won, and they end up pulling it off in dramatic fashion. This has been not only the best series of round two, but I think one of the best playoff series in some time. But Kyle, I know you want to get into it. JT Miller, not the MVP of the Vancouver Canucks, but let's get into it right now. Talk about JT Miller, the game that was, and what's ahead. Before all of that, let me introduce my co-host, Kyle Bowen. What's going on, brother?
Dude, so many emotions and such a strong statement coming from you when you cheer for a team and talk about a team that's been in the league for 55 years. But if you really think about it, since you and I have been watching, how many times have the Canucks picked up 3 victories in the second round of the playoffs? Has it been twice only? Against Minnesota and then against Nashville? You know what I'm saying? Before we beat Nashville in round 2? I think I'm right. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the bubble playoffs. The Vegas Golden Knights, the bubble playoffs.
The bubble too.
There you go. It just hasn't been a lot of time. So I get why this fan base right now is, I don't think over themselves, because I think we know we have a lot of work to do, but this is, a strong moment. And yesterday was a beautiful moment. It's a historic moment. And let's hope that we can look back at that with even more appreciation, because we beat the Oilers tomorrow on Hockey Night in Canada. You know, I said it yesterday going into the game that was one of the most important games in Hockey Canada history. I was exaggerating, but man, oh man, this rivalry that's about to start, that is starting, is a beautiful thing. And everyone's watching. Everyone's watching to see what Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are going to do, right? This was the series that they were supposed to put their mark on Canada and just dominate the Canucks, and look what's happened. The Canucks are making this extremely difficult for them, and I think there's a handful of players that have been very, very instrumental in that, right? Shelovs, Miller, etc. And we'll talk about, I'm just going to throw this at Trevor. I want you to rank your top 5 Canucks playoff MVP so far. And maybe we'll do this like after each round, right? Because it always changes. And I'm just happy, man. I'm just happy. I'm just so happy, man. This is what the city deserves. This is what this fan base deserves. Hey, this is what Trevor Beggs and Kyle Bowen and you here on the Locked On family deserve. Man, oh man, what a time. Speaking of you and you, I'm going to start from the top, okay? If we're talking about Canucks MVPs so far in the playoffs, right? Going into game 6 of round 2, are we getting ahead of ourselves? I don't know, but I have to spend this time talking about the fans. The fans at Rogers Arena. And yeah, you too, people who don't go to the rink, maybe you guys are sending your spirit, like this is Dragon Ball Z, right? Making a spirit bomb, and you guys are doing your thing and helping contribute to the success in that arena. But man, oh man, the fans at Rogers Arena have completely flipped the narrative on what it was like going to Canucks games in the past. It's the truth. Because I don't know if it's recency bias, but I don't remember it being this, how do I say it, this supportive for so many different reasons for this club. I mean, we go into yesterday's game, and I know that Halford and Bruff started it, and I know that social media took it over, but man, oh man, there's Pettersson on Wednesday having the worst press conference a guy can have when you're making 11.6 next year going into a big game in the playoffs. And what did the fans do? They give him a standing ovation. They give him a "Let's go PD" chant. They give him something extremely beautiful, and it again switches the narrative of what it's like being in that arena for a game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I do think that's recency bias to an extent because I think the
Okay.
fans in Vancouver, despite the narrative around the league about burn your city down, blah, 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 this is one of the best fan bases in the league. In fact, I think it's the best fan base in the league. Yeah, it's obviously passionate, but I think the fans show up, especially come playoff time. And you can hear the cheers, man, because like even at the end of the game where, there's kind of like, oh, there's a couple seconds left and there's an awkward pause as they're cheering. And, even the Miller goal again reviewed, the fans had to keep it going. But man, oh man, like this, there's no fan base. I'm telling you right now, this is no bias. I don't care what you say. This is no bias. There's no fan base that deserves happiness more than the Vancouver Canucks. This fan base has suffered through a ton. And again, 54 years, no cup. I think this is our time to get it done, the Vancouver Canucks. And Kyle, I know who's getting it done. I think you're trying to say something about the fans, right? They are the MVP.
They've been so incredible.
I'm gonna give my top.
Even in that first round. Oh, sorry to cut you off. You're cutting off for me, but even in the first round, I just feel as if they were so supportive. They weren't, and I know maybe, and so not because they got a good team in front of them, but because there's been such a long wait for this type of playoff environment, right? So we're all just appreciative that we're in the moment and this is what's in front of us, and we're so grateful that this is happening in front of us. And maybe, just maybe, if the Canucks keep making the playoffs, it kind of waters down until the games get really in, like the Western Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup. But man, oh man, in this moment, and Rick Tocchet alluded to it too, like they were just a big part of the victory yesterday. Because Pettersson was a big part of the victory, not because he lit the score sheet on fire, but because he was able to generate offense 5-on-5 and just add on to the momentum that the Canucks were able to bring in the last 40 minutes of the game. And again, Rick Tocchet shouts at the fans. To hear Pettersson's name when he really doesn't deserve it is a testament to what it's like to be a Vancouver Canuck right now. It's a fun place to play, and just shout out to the fans, man. Because again, we hear it a lot over here. We heard it in the comments all year long, right? Rogers Arena, a boring place to watch hockey, all this, and they've completely flipped the narrative. So again, you know what? Go down your list, though. I know you're about to do it. Go down your list of the best Canucks so far in the playoffs. If we're doing this too early, I'm sorry. I'm just happy. It was my birthday yesterday, and I'm just proud of the fans, man. And I'm also proud about the person you're about to mention, because this dude, he's the real deal.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with number one, and it's no secret. It's JT Miller is my Canucks playoff MVP so far, and I know he's over a point a game, but only has 3 goals in 10 games now, which isn't superb, but he was a force in that Nashville series, despite only having 1 goal and 5 points in 6 games. And now in this series, and I wrote about it last night for Daily Hive, this guy has outdueled McDavid. He's outdueled McDavid. Now, you might look at the fantasy stats, and McDavid's got a bit of a higher shot share. But for the most part, McDavid's just been piling up his points at even strength. Kyle, do you want to know, in terms of goals, what the score is when JT Miller and Connor McDavid are on the ice together? The score is 3-0 for your Vancouver Canucks on 5-on-5. JT Miller, when he's on the ice with Connor McDavid, has outscored him 3-0. Okay.
Damn.
You talk about in this series, we talked about off the top. If JT Miller can play Connor McDavid even, then the Canucks have a chance to win the series. He hasn't just done that. He has outscored Connor freaking McDavid when he's been on the ice. Again, JT Miller, 103 points this season. And now his performance in this series, man, oh man, if JT Miller isn't already in the NHL Superstar Club, he firmly belongs there now.
Okay, can you analytically, or just give me your eye test analysis on why do you think it's working for him against JT Miller? And before you do that, I'll just mention this again. And I know every single Canucks fan knows this. This dude's motor is something else. This dude's love for the game is something else. And now the league's, again, starting to take notice. He's 1 win away. He's 1 more game of shutting down Connor McDavid in having my statement come true, right? And we've been right a lot of times on this program. We've been wrong too. But man, 1 more win away from JT Miller being one of the faces, if not the face of hockey. Look at him. Look at him. Look at this dude. Look how he looks. He just looks like a classic hockey player. And he's doing it against, again, Connor McDavid. Again, the energy, his will is something else. But what are some of the details that you're seeing in his game that's allowing him to have some success against the legend, man, Connor McDavid?
I think positionally, he's just been fantastic this series. And you talk about his positioning in the defensive zone. And sure, Connor McDavid and that line have been getting their chances and their shots. But it feels like whenever the puck is in that high danger zone, Miller is all over it. He's all over McDavid or Draisaitl or whoever is in front of the net. We've seen some mad scrambles in front of the Canucks net, and it seems like JT Miller is always there breaking things up. I mean, the guy is determined. He's on a mission right now. And what did I say, man? This guy's got 3 damn kids, okay? That's why JT Miller's beating Connor McDavid in this series, because he's got to go home and take care of 3 kids. I got 2 kids, man, and there's no time to rest.
So does that mean you're not going to wear any condoms anymore until, you unlock that beast power that JT Miller is finding?
Exactly, buddy. In fact, I'm never wearing a condom again because of JT Miller.
Okay,
because of JT Miller. Yeah.
Okay. JT Miller, that dude, very proud of him. Very, very magical ending to a game in which he scores seconds left. And this is after the dude's almost in tears because he's a big reason why Shard was able to score with 30 seconds left in game 4. You cannot make this ish up, but I'm happy for the guy because do the math. Look at what happened when he left Tampa Bay. There's not a guy in hockey who probably wants a Stanley Cup more than JT Miller. I'm going to go ahead and list off my second MVP so far. And I know we have to get to break, okay? So maybe I'll list off number 2. You can do number 3, and we'll get to 4 and 5 collectively after the break. But for me, it's Artur Shilovs at number 2. And I know yesterday he wasn't extremely busy, but in my opinion, man, when you're up against the Oilers and you're not seeing a lot of action, and then you have to see action, and it's coming off the sticks of Draisaitl, McDavid, and etc. And I know those 2 didn't have the best of games, but still, that's a daunting task for a third-string goaltender. And what Shilovs was able to do with his rebound control and just look poised allowed the Canucks to continue to put the momentum on. There was no point in which I felt uncomfortable having that guy in net. In the game, again, where he wasn't seeing a lot of action. And that was a change of pace for what he's used to over the last 4 or 5 games. And I can't be more proud of the most random story in hockey right now. Oh, your microphone's out. But yeah, Shilovs is just doing his thing.
I'm back. I was gonna say I'll get to this later in the show, but I was definitely chirping some Edmonton fans about losing to a third-string goalie over the past couple of days. So we'll get to that on the other side. I agree. Artur Shilovs has been fantastic, and really since the first game of this series, he has not had a bad game. And I think maybe for really nitpicking, he might have wanted that Kane goal back last night. But overall, the guy's been so smooth, so steady, and kind of like you said, it was a completely different change of pace last night. With the Canucks allowing 12 shots over the final 40 minutes. So great stuff from Artur Shilovs. Let's get to the rest of our MVPs on the other side. Before we do that, let's shout out our friends over at Game Time. You know the deal, okay? Me, Begsy, I'm cheap. Look at this, okay? I can't even afford Wi-Fi. Unbelievable. Okay, and you know what when I'm trying to find tickets, I make sure I use Game Time. You know why? Because they got the lowest price guarantee. You know what that means? You can't beat it. You can't, because it's a guarantee. Now, hey, Nicole, Game Time always teasing me with concerts and events this week in my area. And again, not only are those weekly emails a tease, but I know that Game Time offers flash deals on last-minute tickets, okay? When you use Game Time, you can see the view from the seat, all that good stuff, baby. And if you're not into those Vancouver Canucks, what are you doing to listen to this pod? Maybe your significant other isn't. You can find tickets for concerts, comedy, events, football, basketball, baseball, all good stuff on Game Time. So make sure that you go download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bow and Trevor Beggs, and more importantly, you and you and you and you and you and you. One love to the Don't Totes Art Lab for giving us the space that helps us produce the show. They really got that West Coast bias. I know you got that West Coast bias, and that West Coast bias is extremely important because we got to take care of our neighbors, man. It really starts there. For real. Anyways, your Canucks again pick up a huge win last night. One of their biggest wins in a long time. Still a lot of work to get done. I mean, I've been saying it for months. I think this team can win a Stanley Cup. I think that should be the goal based on the amount of trades this team has made in a year, the amount of draft capital they've given up in a year. I think based on the talent that they've accumulated, this team should be aiming for the Stanley Cup. And I think it's going to happen. And when you think it's going to happen, you just lean on the chance of it happening. And I'm just grateful that we do have a chance because this team is not only resilient, they're just talented, man. They really are. They can throw a lot at you, man. This is not the Arizona Coyotes with great goaltending and back in the day, you know what I'm saying, when they made a miracle run to the Western Conference Finals. It's not one of those things. It's a lot of things, and then when you sprinkle on the talent on top of this magical story, it starts to make sense, okay? It's not all luck, it's talent. And look at this, okay? We got a super chat from my guy Major Tao, okay? One love to you. A championship team is born in Vancouver. Solid and dangerous always, never out of a game. And that whole never out of a game logic, man, oh man, Rick Tocchet has given us that culture. And for the Canucks to do what they did against McDavid and Draisaitl in the last 4 minutes of yesterday's game when the Oilers loaded up, it just goes to show you that, again, these guys don't break. And look at how it ended with 30 seconds left. Who got broken down? Not the Canucks. It was Connor McDavid, and JT Miller finished off his biggest goal of his playoff career, maybe the biggest goal of his career. That being said, we just talked about Miller. We talked about Sheelovs. We're going down the list of our best. Who do you have at number 4? Because I'm going to give you the floor because, you're on vacation, you're doing your thing. I'm curious to know, like, who's here because I feel as if we have 4 and 5 maybe switched around.
Yeah, so just so I have it straight, did you have the fans number 1, Miller number 2, and Sheelovs number 3? Is that what we're going with?
That's what I want to go with. I want to give it to the people.
Okay.
I want to give it to the fans, okay? Thank you.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay. Honestly, there's 4 other guys on my mind, and one of the crazy things about this is you might have a Canucks top 5 MVP list without Hughes or Pettersson on it. Now, I'm not quite going to go there because I think Hughes have been pretty phenomenal. I'm going to go with Brock Besser next, though, because I think Brock Besser has been an offensive catalyst for this team. And not only that, but along with JT Miller has gone up against the best line in hockey, and they've, won that matchup so far. And Besser deserves some credit for it. I think in a series like this with a team as fast as the Oilers, the one negative I see with Besser is his lack of foot speed does stand out, but everything else he's doing is kind of making up for it and masking it. Good positionally in the D zone. He's being, somewhat physical, not overly physical in the offensive zone, but man, oh man, his creativity with the puck is showing. His smarts with the puck are showing. He's not making any bad decisions out there. And what's he got now? 7 goals in 10 playoff games for your Vancouver Canucks. I mean, Brock Besser has just been unbelievable so far. And when you have a guy like Pettersson who's not really on his A game, you need other guys to step up. And Miller and Besser have absolutely been, a dynamic duo for the Canucks and one of the best, forward duos in these playoffs.
Yeah, Besser's been incredible. He's been super clutch. He's taken his game to a whole level, and he's allowing me to, again, be grateful of a quote-unquote long playoff run. I know it's going to be longer. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not, putting an end to the season. I know. It's not over yet. But when you start watching a compilation of 10-plus playoff games, you can easily point out to the players who are able to take their game to the next level and also not lose to the moment. And Besser is looking like the same player, shift in and shift out. And that's incredible. Like, this is a guy who is a salary dump 14 months ago. This is a guy who asked for a trade 17 to 18 months ago. No, straight up, we're not that far removed from this team and Aquilini being like, no, you guys are not buying out OEL. I'm not letting you guys buy out OEL. Give him another chance, and that's too much money. Find someone else to get rid of. That person would have been Brock Besser. And we're kind of lucky that there was teams out there that were inquiring about Brock Besser that only wanted Brock Besser if the Canucks were willing to swallow up some cap on their end. Straight up, we're blessed. Speaking of luck, sometimes you need it, and that's why I keep saying there's magic in the air. Speaking of magic, I know he didn't have the best of games yesterday. Straight up, I think he's getting too attached to Evander Kane, and I think Rick Tocchet's got to let him know that, dude, you're just twice the player as Evander Kane right now. Okay, don't get too close to this guy. But it's Nikita Zadorov because, and this is crazy, right? We're talking about the best players of our playoff run. We haven't mentioned Lindholm. He should be part of this list. Quinn Hughes should be part of the list for real. These guys should. Connor Garland should be part of the list too. But Zadorov has definitely raised the floor and the identity and given identity to the Vancouver Canucks, and that's irreplaceable. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Quinn Hughes is who I was probably going to have next on the MVP list, but I'm happy to go with Zadorov because the guy's been unreal, and he's brought the physicality along with the offensive production. I mean, 4 goals in these playoffs now, 4 goals in 10 games. It's a physical menace out there, still going after Kane, still chirping. Yeah, Zadorov's just been unreal. And again, we talked about that probably after games 1 and 2, that I felt more confident about this Canucks team after games 1 and 2 than I did going into the series. And a lot of it's kind of like what you said, Kyle. The depth on this team has been good. And, I think in game 4, it let the team down a bit. And you kind of wonder, like, oh man, is this team's depth going to be able to overcome the 2 best players in the NHL? And then game 5 rolls around, and it was more than enough. Now, again, here's the caveat. McDavid had another pretty bad game last night, right? And that is not something you see very often at all. He's had a bad game in game 1. He had a bad game in game 5. I don't expect another bad game from McDavid. Now, the Canucks did win with McDavid playing a good game in game 3. It's we'll talk about that more tomorrow. But again, I think for me, I look at this MVP list. Quinn Hughes, again, so smooth with the puck. I just wonder what this Canuck team would be without Quinn Hughes, and I think they would be, down in the series for sure. The guy.
How good has he been? How good has he been in the last 3 games? How good has he been in the last 3 games?
So good. And I think the offensive production, he's piling up assists, but the goal scoring hasn't been there. So even last night, I think it was 3rd star of the game with no points, right?
Yeah.
So even though the offensive production isn't at maybe like Quinn Hughes-esque levels, the guy's just been so smooth with the puck. I mean, none of the Oilers can check him. None of the Oilers can catch him. He's always coming up with the puck in the defensive zone. I mean, Quinn Hughes has just been an absolute force for your Canucks so far in the playoffs. And again, probably like 4th, 5th best player on this team, but he's just been so good.
Well, I'm glad we're ending it on this note. Like, making this list in theory and just having fun. Like, we're just talking ish right now, I think we're being grateful. And me and Trevor's almost 31 years old. I'm now 31 and a half years old. So I think it's safe to say that we kind of just are okay with handing out flowers prematurely, only because it's not that deep. I'm just super grateful for the life I'm living right now. And a lot of that has to do with the Canucks and also the hope that this can extend and this can go further. And we can win the Stanley Cup this year, which would be a miracle. Like, this is like, teams normally have to go through a lot of ish via playoff experience to go over the hump. But I'm looking at this team, and yeah, Quinn Hughes has played pretty good over the last 3 games, but there's another level to his game. There really is. And it's going to happen. I feel as if he's getting healthier as the playoffs go on, which is kind of weird, but he's avoiding more checks. He's more elusive. His timing is back. You can see it. And the next step is for him to take over games offensively and muster up a whole bunch of more shots on net. And we kind of saw that yesterday, right? He played 25 minutes in which a game happened where we took 5 penalties, right? That reduces his minutes. We also saw him get 12 more minutes than Ian Cole. I do think that that's what's going to happen going forward here. The games are going to really matter. Rick Tocchet, if the games are tight, he's not going to roll 6 defensemen. He's rolling 5, and he's rolling Quinn Hughes a lot. But we're going to see another level to this guy. We're also going to see a whole new level to Elias Pettersson if all things go well. And then you're talking about 2 of the best players in hockey when they're on their game, elevating in the playoffs. And what does that do to a team that has identity with Zadorov and company and this floor? It has the swag, and Miller has this will about him, and Brock Besser is playing like a 2-way force. You start doing the math, and you throw in Shelovs and Demko, and you're like, I'm grateful that we have a chance to win the cup. Now we have to take care of business tomorrow. We'll talk more about that on the other side. We'll also get to most of your comments, and just enjoy the moment, man. Enjoy the sun. Begsy, grateful to be talking to you right now, and go Canucks go.
Yeah, go Canucks go. Lots of comments to get to on the other side. And in case you missed it, Kyle and I, our playoff MVP power rankings was fans number 1, okay? Then JT Miller, then Artur Shelovs, then Brock Besser, then Nikita Zadorov, then Quinn Hughes. I'd be happy to put Lindholm and Garland as kind of 7, 8 on that list. So you talk about the fans and 7 guys who have just been really going for your Vancouver Canucks. And that's a positive sign, again, for this team, not just beating the Oilers last night, but for going far in these playoffs and getting out of round 2 here and beating the Edmonton Oilers against all odds. What's up, ESPN? Let's wrap up the show on the other side. Again, lots of interesting comments that I do want to get to. Before we do that, I gotta shout out our friends over at eBay Motors. All right, you know the deal. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay says everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from for your number 1 ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, baby. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die live at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. eBay guarantee for customers. Okay, I got to make one other shout out too before we get to the next segment. It is my wife's birthday today. Happy birthday to the beautiful Hannah Kazda, 33 years old. Man, oh man, the love of my life. She pushed 2 kids out of her vagina for us, man. Unbelievable. Whoa. Unbelievable stuff. On the family road trip now, pushed in 2 weeks. What's that, buddy?
You said us, like for all of us watching this? I guess so, added to the human race.
For us
no, that's true.
No, for the good of the world, for the good of the world too. But I'm just outside of Jasper, Alberta, about to explore the Rockies with her today for her birthday, and
super blessed.
Yeah, man, oh man, just shout out to my wife. She's so kind, so full of love. And I never thought I would marry someone who's not a Canucks fan. She's a Senators fan, but because she loves me and supports me, she's going for the boys in blue and green. Go Canucks, go, and most importantly, happy birthday to my wife. Let's get back to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day.
Okay, we back doing this, talking about your Vancouver Canucks, like Trevor said. Happy birthday to Trevor's wife. Yeah, beautiful, for real. And just a great mom, dude. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, you guys really did do it for the world, and that's have kids. And I'm going to say it right now, and I want everyone to say it in the comments. Have another, okay? Have another. AKA ban Trevor Beggs from buying condoms. Okay? Straight up. It's just the truth, man. Have another. You guys are great parents, man. I say this all the time. I'm not even lying, okay? I'm not even lying. I don't say this to stroke Trevor off, too. It's just the truth. And I am reading a pretty emotional book right now, so I'm pretty sentimental. I also get sentimental on my birthday, too. But I'm going to say it right now. Beggsy and his wife, beautiful people, spiritual people, great human beings, hippies for sure. Hippies for sure. They got that hippie energy. They got that loving energy. And the world needs more people like Beggsy and Beggsy's wife. It's just the truth. And I'm happy you guys are having kids, man. For real. For real. And your daughter, I'm telling you, your daughter is like, I don't think I've met a more joyful individual in my life. And I've only met her a couple times, but her voice is just like, yeah, that's what life's all about. Anyways, proud of you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. And you know what? I got to give her another shout out too, because here I am on her birthday, recording a podcast talking to you about the Vancouver Canucks. Because she knows that we got to do this for the people, okay? She knows how important this is. She saw me stressing last night. I was stressing her out with my stress, but thankfully it all worked out for your Vancouver Canucks. But we're feeling good today, okay? We're feeling good. And like cousin Vinny says here on the live YouTube show, let's go Vancouver. The coffee tastes sweeter this morning. Yeah, I'm drinking black coffee right now, and it tastes like sugar, baby. It tastes like sugar.
Wow. I'm drinking black coffee too. I just like it black. I love it black. Once you go black, you never go back. I learned that at a young age. What? Anyways, let's get to more comments, okay? Jacob Cozy sent us a super sticker, but earlier he also sent us another one, and he told us that he's right now drunk. He's drunk right now. What time is it? 9:30 in the morning. But it's the long weekend, bro. I've been there. You don't think Trevor's drunk right now? You don't think Trevor's drunk right now? He's a family man, but you don't think this guy's drunk right now? It's vacation time. It's long weekend. It's May long, and the Canucks are playing. Like, that's a beautiful thing. That is unreal to me. The last time this was happening, we were in the Western Conference Finals. We were playing game 2 or game 3 against San Jose. It was like, no, it was game 3 or game 4. It was that Sammy Salo 2-goal game in the second period, okay? So a very nostalgic time, a very beautiful time, and I just want to say this again. Let's just get the effing win tomorrow, for real, okay? Let's just end the Oilers. Straight up. It's the truth. Look at this, GV with this comment, okay? Miller elevating himself to a potential Ring of Honor status. Dude, look at the points per game. The JT Miller, if this continues, he's not going in the Ring of Honor. Like, he's getting his number retired. Now we're getting ahead of ourselves. But he may go down. This is crazy to say. He may go down as, like, top 2 Canuck player of all time. Like, again, we're talking about an organization and a fan base that really love guys like Stan Smeel and Trevor Linden. You can see that those type of traits in JT Miller, but he has that offensive pedigree that is something else. This guy's intelligence, this guy's offensive awareness, this guy's skill set. It's what makes him an outlier in the NHL, and it goes back to me not saying bullish when I keep bringing up this fact. Like, if he beats McDavid and he's a big part of that one-on-one matchup, and as Trevor alluded to, continues to outscore him 5-on-5, I'm telling you, that dude is going to be the face of hockey until the Canucks get eliminated in the playoffs. And if they win the cup, bro, he's going to change the game in his own way forever, because more teams are going to be looking for guys like that to lead their team.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. It's pretty hard to find a guy like JT Miller, because even when JT Miller came into the league, he wasn't the JT Miller
Yeah.
that he is right now. And in man, oh man, I mean, let's save this for another day. But, if he does somehow lead this team to a cup, wins the Conn Smythe, he might be the best player in franchise history. Move over Sedins. See you later, Pavel Bure. You might say that JT Miller might be the best Canuck of all time. And look at that. Kurt Richardson. Happy birthday to Kurt Richardson as well. Look at that. Happy birthday, buddy. What a beautiful day, May 17th. Man, oh man. Not only are we celebrating Kurt, celebrating my wife, we're celebrating one of the biggest wins in Canucks history. And man, oh man, I got to shout out this comment from Gigatronic. He's asking, am I in Edmonton now rocking that sweet jersey in public? Yeah, I'm rocking my Henrik Sedin captain Vancouver Canucks jersey. I've been rocking it for the past couple of days. Sure, it's got a few kid food stains on it. And you know what? I was surprised. I wasn't getting that many chirps at first. I think I wore it originally after game 3. So I actually heard more "Go Canucks Go" than I did chirps. I had one old man kind of get mad at me. But over the past couple of days, I've heard more chirps, like guys yelling me in the parking lot. I went to a brewery last night. Multiple people are wearing this jersey. I had a funny moment where a couple Oilers fans walked in, McDavid and Draisaitl jerseys. I go behind the Draisaitl guy. I said, "Good luck tonight." And he's like, "Oh yeah, thanks, man." And he turns around and sees my jersey, and I'm just like smirking. He's like, "Oh wait a minute."
Nah, I love it, man. The chirps. Honestly,
good times in the town.
I wonder what would happen if like an Oilers fan tried to jump you. Like, it's an emotional game tomorrow, game 6 in Alberta. And let's say we win and you're out just celebrating by yourself with your wife. And then you guys got to get into a tag team match against another drunk dude and his girl. That would be something else, man. I hope the kids are sleeping at home. You know what I'm saying? When that happens.
Yeah.
For real.
Here's the thing. I do think having kids acts as a bit of a shield, to be honest.
No,
Why you can attack the guy with the kid, But
okay, Trevor, let me steal 2 or 3 more minutes away from you before you have to go be the greatest husband, second best father of all time. Okay, let's just be a little critical, or just talk about the game. Like, what do the Canucks have to do tomorrow to beat the Oilers in 6? Obviously, you know what the Oilers are going to do. They're gonna play Draisaitl and McDavid for like 30 minutes. You already know that's going to happen. Like, you saw what they did with 6. Like, it kind of lost them the game if you think about it. Like, it's a tie game, and there's the Edmonton Oilers coach, like, getting rid of his philosophy and just loading up his top line in the second half of that third period, and it blew up in his face. He's going to lean on that line again in game 6. Like, what do the Canucks have to do to not allow the Oilers to get back in the series? Because we saw what happened in Edmonton in game 3 and game 4. We got dominated 5-on-5. Like, how do we get the job done here?
Yeah, I don't think it's so much about the X's and O's. I think it's just the Canucks got to be hungrier. And I'm not just talking about a few guys being hungrier. They got to be, from the superstars down to the fourth liners. I mean, the fourth line last night of DiGiuseppe, Amon, and Podkolzin was really good. Talking showed them out after the game. DiGiuseppe getting emotional after the game. And shout out to Phil DiGiuseppe. What a week. He's talked about, his wife having a tough pregnancy. His son just being born like 5 days ago. Amazing stuff. So shout out to Phil DiGiuseppe. Father of 2 now, and man, oh man, beautiful goal last night, a little spinorama too, unreal stuff. But again, that's it. The Canucks just got to be hungrier. If the Canucks are hungrier and they have 4 lines going and they have all 6 D men going, which is easier said than done, to have your whole team going like that, they are going to beat the Oilers in 6 games. Now, I've said it. I've said it on this podcast for a while. I've said Canucks in 7 from the get go. It would be nice to end it in 6.
No,
I still have a feeling this one's going the distance, but man, oh man, I do hope the Canucks.
Why are you putting that out there in the universe? Like, going into the weekend, like, come on, let's just end it in 6. It would be fitting if the Vancouver Canucks won tomorrow's game against those Oilers with the Canucks line, since the third line is back reunited, which, again, they weren't dominant yesterday, but what have we been saying this whole time? Like, Rick Tocchet, put that line back together, load up your top 3 lines, and look what happened. We had the most shots we've had. We played our best playoff game. Rocket science? Dude, Tocchet science? Like, it was obvious that this was going to happen. It was obvious. That all being said, I could see a scenario where the Canucks tomorrow, and it's because of the third line. And since it's because of the third line of Blueger, Garland, and Joshua, when McDavid and Draisaitl cleaned their locker rooms on Monday during that press conference, and they're asked about their future with the Oilers, they're reluctant to answer that because, again, they just lost to a team with a third-string goaltender and lost to a team in which their third line was the reason why they got it done, okay? For real. Because, again, 5 minutes left in the game. It's a tie game. Why are you panicking and loading up your top line? That's what the Oilers did. You know why they did it? Because the Oilers suck. The Oilers suck, bro. They're so top-heavy, bro. Too top-heavy, and that's not how you win in the playoffs. Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, Locked on Canucks. Join the Discord. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Man, oh, man, the like really goes a long way for us. But, yeah, even if you don't press the like button, man, we love you, man. We love you, man. We love everyone who has that West Coast bias, that Vancouver Canucks bias within their hearts. And, Beggsy, do your thing like always. Sign us out.
A shout out to the everydayers, the occasional listeners, the first-time listeners, the new subscribers, and those of you who join us on the live show on YouTube. Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter when you're listening, where you're listening. We just appreciate you for tuning in to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Man, oh man, what a ride it has been in these playoffs so far. Again, your Vancouver Canucks win 3-2 last night over the Edmonton Oilers. They're up 3-2 in the series. They have a chance to get back to only their fourth trip to the Western Conference Finals in their 50-plus year history with a win on Saturday night. I'll be repping this jersey in Alberta, cheering hard for the boys, and I know you'll be doing the same from wherever you are. Kyle will be doing the same. Let's go. Let's put that energy out there, and we'll catch you on another episode here of Locked On Canucks. Again, it is Locked On Canucks. Beggsy, Bowen, your Canucks every day.
One love to PDG, man. Thank you for your efforts, and love to your family. And, yeah, while I have Trevor here, we got to actually end it on this note. Rest in peace. Darren Petition. Real talk. You are the GOAT. Have a beautiful day.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.